Happy Friday. Fri YAY. It's a 5-minute Fri YAY with Casey and Kara, and we are going to be talking to you today on episode number 3 about relationships and establishing boundaries and expectations with whatever marketing team or group of people that are going to be helping you. So in the past couple of episodes, we talked about how to find the right team, how to, make sure that you're getting what you need, and then this goes deeper. So once you've found that team that works for you, there are some expectations and guidelines to set up and have these conversations just right off the bat to make sure that everything goes smoothly.
Cohesive and everyone's understood and makes life a lot easier.
On every plane possible. So from your perspective as the client, as well as from the agency, freelancer, small business team that's helping you, it's good to know where everybody's at and how they expect things to happen and go throughout the project. So we are talking about, first of all, hours.
Working hours.
Working hours. So every industry, of course, has kind of their standard, where it may just be totally different. So restaurants have long hours that they're open.
Yeah.
Long hours in comparison to something like our kind of business that's a very 9-to-5 type of business. So when you go to work with someone, I also think about real estate agents as an example for this. Our realtor clients, we applaud you. We could never be you. This is why we're not realtors. But they work 24/7. They're answering calls at 11:30 on a Saturday night. Just working 7 days a week. We have one client who I know didn't take a single day off. It was like 3 or 4 months before she worked 7 days a week, but she's amazing and our clients love her, but we can't do that. A lot of creative types of businesses especially need to have very set hours and strict boundaries on that.
Otherwise we just get worn too thin. As creatives, we love to work, and a lot of us, we like to continue that process and we don't like to take a step back. But learning that you need to take a step back, you need to take a break, get your mind off of it, and then come back with a fresh set of eyes, clear mind, and just that sense of weight lifted off your shoulders.
Right, because when you do that, you aren't squashing your creativity. So if we worked 18-hour days every day, 7 days a week, our creativity would be awful, our designs would be bad, we would make a lot of mistakes and just not be as
fresh or clear.
Right.
Good.
Right, so just understanding that and having that conversation when you first start to work with someone and bring them on board of, okay, well, we're open all these hours, so if I have something that's kind of urgent that I need to bring to you, can I do that? Will I hear from you? Late on a Thursday night, if I send you an email with a request for something, will I hear from you immediately?
And again, each company, each person is going to have different working hours. I guess we can use us as an example.
Right.
In our contracts and our clause, we lay out our standard working hours, and then we lay out, if you have an emergency during our off hours, what our capabilities of what we are willing to do, as well as our fee for that as well.
Right. Whereas, before I started this company and I was freelancing, I was much more apt to just be like, oh my gosh, an email just came in, I have to answer it right away. Or, I overextended myself. But now that we have a team and it's growing, we have to make sure that we have some standard working hours. So that's a huge piece of the puzzle, which leads into the second part of it, which is communication boundaries. So when you start working with someone, they should bring it up in the initial conversation before you sign a contract and say, this is our preferred method of communication. What is yours?
Yes. And you know, it might not be the same thing, but you guys can talk about and set those expectations of this is what we agree on will be the preferred method of communication.
Right. So just making sure everyone's on the same page and they work nicely together.
And making sure you're not having 5 different kinds of communication. That for a professional, especially creative, it's very confusing if I receive 3 emails within 5 minutes over different things, and then I receive 2 text messages and then a voicemail. It's easier for us to kind of understand and see what you need when it's all laid out in one single type of place and it's all together.
Right. And we understand that sometimes when you're in that moment and you are in your business, you are just hustling to get through your to-do list. And when something pops into your head, it's like, oh, I need to tell them this. I'll just send a text message. Well, like a 10-page text message later, and then and then they follow up and the conversation flows over to Facebook or into email. I like to keep things streamlined and as easy as possible. We like email communication because that way we don't miss a beat.
It's all right there. When I'm ready to work and get your things done, I'm not looking at 6 different things, spending 30 minutes trying to find all the correct answers versus 2 minutes finding the correct answers in one place.
Which is also handy. Think about it this way. I'm going to put it in the ball back in your court. If you're paying hourly for a service, especially, how can you make it as easy and seamless as possible for whoever you're working with?
I love playing Sherlock Holmes.
If we're
on your dime.
we're billable to you, just think about how that might go down. And then that also leads into, if you're working with a company that has employees or maybe is working with some freelancers on the side to complete your project and bring it all together, where do those expectations of who you go to for what particular parts of the project, and the communication strings that happen along through there. So if you have, I don't like the word hierarchy, I really don't, but it's the best way to think about is kind of like a hierarchy where you have your person up here and your couple down here and your few down here below. I know I'm like writing out an imaginable not imaginable, that's not a word.
I don't know.
A make-believe marker board here.
Example why you need a break.
Right, I'm so tired. So writing on like a make-believe marker board here and showing you that, just thinking about, if you have something to do with the graphic design of something, like go to that designer. If you have something that's the overall strategy or a question about the flow of the project, the deadlines,
or add-ons to the service.
Right, what exactly is included in that service. That's where you go to those upper level people that have the answers anyway. Because a lot of times if you send it to just whoever you worked with last on our team, it's just going to get forwarded to me at the end of the day anyway. I mean, I don't know how to answer this. So every person on our team, and it's very similar to a lot of other companies and agencies. A lot of big agencies will have account execs, and they will kind of oversee your project, manage with all those different pieces to the puzzle and all those different individuals involved. But in a smaller company like ours, I'm that person. So everything comes back to me at the end of the day, so you might as well just come to me in the first place.
Right, because even if I know the answer to the question, it has to come from her anyways.
Yeah. I get that stamp of approval. Boom. Which also leads into, I see it happen all of the time, and it's frustrating, I know, on the client, and it's got to be really frustrating to feel like they don't understand exactly what's included in the contract. So I just want to share with you that, the expectations should be super clear from the get-go. When you get a proposal, way before a contract is signed, when you get a proposal, it should outline, bullet point style, however, exactly what will happen throughout the process. you don't want to assume that if you're getting a website built that SEO keyword research is included. That's an add-on.
Whole separate beast.
Generally, unless it's laid out and in there. So I have some examples here actually.
It was talked about before the contract was created as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But don't be afraid to ask questions about your contract, or if you decide that, or you see something missing, let us know. Say, hey, I actually was thinking about this, or hey, see this is missing, can we add that in there? Definitely make sure you get all those things done up front.
Right. So in your contract, there should be a section called services or something of that nature, and it should spell out and say the consultants will provide the following services, and then have the list of services below, and all bullet pointed out. So that's just something that I see a lot of clients come back and be like, wait, what are you gonna do this? Or, and I love it that clients are digging their heels in and really trying to get educated on what they need to be successful.
Because that's what we promote, is educating you and you being educated in your own stuff.
Right. So knowing your stuff is important. So make sure that it's all laid out and it's there in front.
Please
and
read the
before you
contract.
dig into the actual project launch, that you have those questions answered and you know what's going to be given to you and what's not.
You know you have A, B, and C.
Right.
But definitely make sure you read the contract. I mean, we've all been guilty of having something and going, oh, it's fine, just sign, click, sign. But with these sorts of things, when you're paying for services from any kind of organization, company, anything, just make sure you read the contract.
Your contract should also outline the timeline. There should be maybe a duration section that talks about how long the contract covers. Generally, what we do, I'm not sure about everyone else, but we expand the duration. It's a little longer than what we estimate the timeline of the actual project to take, just in case.
Just in case things pop up. I mean, there's always going to be certain things that can pop up. We really, truly don't know the full extent of everything until we get in there. When we get in there, I mean, it could be 2 days or it could be 2 weeks. It really just depends. And with the timeline, everyone's human. There could be events that pop up. There could be things that we don't have that we need from you. And, the longer it takes for us to get those items, the more it can push back the project. As well as response time. I mean, if we have some questions, sometimes questions don't affect the timeline, but sometimes our questions can affect the timeline because it affects your choices and a choice you need to make that then affects the project. And if you don't get back to us, don't assume that it's not going to affect the timeline. Please know, if you don't get back to us in a week, it could push the project back a week because we weren't able to work on it in the process of waiting for you to respond. Which again is no skin off our back, but we just want you to be aware that, it will affect your timeline.
Yeah. So those are just some of the expectations and guidelines that we feel are really important to jumping in and outsourcing your marketing. So the next section that we're going to cover next week is all about that RESPECT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being respectful to each other.
Right, being respectful of those different boundaries and timelines and working hours and criteria and all of that put into one. So we hope that you'll jump on and learn with us. Just a shameless self-promotion moment. We do have some upcoming events. Just go ahead and click on the events tab and check those out. We have some cool workshops coming up.
Yeah.
And our content cohort. So just check it out. Let us know if you have any questions. Comment below on this video if you have any questions about setting expectations or outsourcing your marketing at all. We'll be happy to help.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.